Hello and welcome to another episode of the TC Plus Show. Today our guest is Randy, and we're bringing him on to talk about some auctioneering.
Never talked to a professional auctioneer before, but I know they're good at talking, so I expect big things from you.
Yeah, we talk.
No pressure, though, no pressure.
So before we jump into that, we're going to, talk some things, try to get to know who Randy is on a little bit, on some other things besides the regular topics. So we're going to start with 3 quick questions.
All right.
And my first question is, if you could instantly learn any skill, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Instantly learn any skill. There's definitely a bunch of different things that I thought would be cool to do. Well, one thing that probably would almost go with the auctioneering thing, like not at all while I'm doing it, but if I could learn how to yodel.
Because there you go. Yeah,
I just think it'd be pretty, I could auction and yodel.
Sure,
That'd be
pretty
powerful.
Nice.
That's intriguing. No, I like it. That's not where I didn't think you're going there, but that's good.
Yeah.
My question is, do you like board games? If so, what's your favorite board game?
Yes, I love board games very much. I like strategy games. I don't know, there's a bunch, but like Acquire. Have you ever played Acquire?
Yeah, I played Acquire.
I really enjoy that one. I like how it's kind of, it's intense, but it's quick. Like you're not there all afternoon type thing.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I really enjoy that one.
That's good.
Do you have maybe you don't want to share this. You can say you don't, but do you have like a go-to strategy for Acquire?
Yeah, kind of. Like,
Okay.
whatever, try to get in small and trade up into the bigger companies.
Yeah. So some of the people I play with, they're like torn on like starting big companies, mid-sized, or small ones. Do you have like a go-to when you
I just
start something?
seem to gravitate to the mid-size. I don't know why. It's just your money goes further at the start of the game.
Yep.
It seems middle of the road. I agree with that. I'm terrible at it. Like I'm a pretty bad Acquire player, but
Right.
I always just like small seems too cheap and big seems too expensive. So I always start with like Imperial, just because it always seems to be the biggest, man. At the end of the game, my games, anyways.
Is that the yellow one?
That's the yellow one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some big towers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Another question I have for you is, do you have a bucket list item that you haven't done yet?
A bucket list item. Well, probably more like travel based.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that like has to travel, but I do enjoy traveling, and I've been to Europe or parts of Europe, but I'd like to travel more of it. And actually, probably the biggest thing would be the Canadian Arctic.
Interesting.
Maybe not this time of year.
Yeah.
But well, although I would find it intriguing to see what it's like to never see the sun. And then also I have to go twice.
Right.
I want to see what it's like to have the midnight sun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
Interesting. Try to stay away from the polar bears.
yeah, that part would be
Can you get up to the farthest point in Canada or whatever? Like, what's that place called? Is it called like Alert or Alarm or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm
Alert. Actually, I think you're right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You should try to get up there, man. I
Yeah.
think that'd be pretty neat.
Pretty sure you could.
Yeah, I mean, somebody has to somehow, but like,
Yeah, I don't know if it's as simple as just getting in your car or
yeah, I don't think they got roads up
Yeah.
there. Like, I think it's,
yeah.
but maybe small planes, perhaps. They could do it somehow.
I'm curious if it would be like a couple flights or how that would be to.
Yeah,
get
that's a
up
good
there.
question. I don't know. Do your own research, I suppose. You know, we can't help you.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be fun.
Do you have any people that you think you could convince to go with you?
I think there's something that crazy. There'd always be some
Yeah.
people that, oh yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay, nice. It's always good to have some stupid.
Not going to name names because I don't want to lock myself into anyone.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yep. Well, let's move on to the book of questions. So, basically, you got 3 shots. You tell me when to stop. I point somewhere on the page. It's a question for you. If you don't like it, you move on to the next one.
Or last episode, we had a dude pick a number just out of his head, and we did that question.
Yeah.
And you can do that too.
Well, I was thinking, has anyone done question number 1?
Question? I don't know. Has anyone done
I
it?
forget, man.
I
I got a
doubt it.
short-term memory.
Let's see what question number 1's all
Question
Okay.
number 1. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Wow. You can't skip, but you know.
That's a deep question.
Yeah, they start in hard.
There's some really easy questions out there.
There's
but
no easing into the water on this one.
No.
So I mean, you can take your shot at it, or if you want.
Literally no pressure, though.
I think just being content with wherever you're at is probably a pretty big thing. I mean, I know people that have multiple houses and lots of money and everything, and they're still not happy. And then I know people that have nothing and are happy. So I think just being content wherever you're at is probably the main ingredient.
There you go.
And from there, opinions will probably diverge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like how to achieve that contentment, I think, is another whole ball game too.
Yeah. How long do you want the episode to be?
This is right up Corey's alley, trust me.
Yeah, very good. We've also got food for thought.
We're gonna do that now. We can do it now.
Should we do it now, or
Yeah,
should we do it
now.
later?
We can do whatever you want, Corey. You're
Jump
the host.
into food for thought, man.
All right, sounds good. We're switching up the episode, keeping you on your toes.
Yeah.
That way, if people turned off by food for thought in other episodes, now they actually get to experience it.
There you go.
See, that's big. That's big.
There you go. So, food for thought for this episode is, what's a weird food combination that you don't mind, or I guess that you enjoy, or you know what, even just don't mind is fine too.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought
Go
about
for
that for a little while. I'm sure there's something that I've combined that people would consider weird, but so I couldn't really come up with anything like that. But I thought, well, there's a few like ways that I maybe eat something that, like, one of the things. You ever had a bran muffin?
Yeah.
You know what a bran muffin is?
Well, I
all
try to
about?
stay away from those, but yeah.
Well, see, I enjoy
Okay,
these.
that's all right.
And I'll take the bran muffin, put her in the microwave, 30 seconds, whatever. Take a cereal bowl, put her in there, mash it up, put some milk in there, and some maple syrup.
Milk and maple syrup.
It is a good time.
Fascinating.
So
That's
No,
interesting.
that's a great answer, actually. That's fantastic.
that's just kind of what, and I think, I mean, I'm also in the like dunking camp,
Yeah.
like cookies and milk and stuff. Like, I'm definitely
Okay,
in that.
I can't get on board with that.
Yeah, see, I kind of remember that from another episode. so-
Okay, yeah.
I can get on board, but like it's not something I try to do often. But like it's not a bad idea.
Honestly, Tyler, because you were like, "Oh, bran muffin's bad."
Yeah.
I think you should try this.
That's
Yeah,
Because,
a
like,
great
It
idea.
is something that could take a bran muffin to a new level, I think.
And
yeah.
I think you might enjoy it.
I think that is something that I could enjoy.
What level of milk goes in it, though?
Yeah,
I'm
like
trying
how
to
much
is
milk?
it just enough to make it like a little soaky, or is it like covered in milk?
Well, if it's me, there's definitely a lot of milk in there.
Okay.
But I mean, there's no rules. You
Yeah,
can
I
put
know.
in whatever you want.
You haven't made the rules on
No,
that
I
yet,
haven't.
So,
No,
okay,
I haven't.
fair
I
enough.
just was trying to figure out like what your standard is.
Yeah,
Like,
so
what-
there's usually like a bran muffin. Actually, surprisingly enough, is very absorbent.
Yeah.
Like they don't look like they're lacking of
Yeah.
moisture, but they soak up a lot of milk.
Nice,
so
nice.
you put a bunch in there, and before you know it's gone. You need more.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Top her off.
Yeah.
Maple syrup or milk.
Yep.
Yeah. So as we've discussed in the past, I'm not exactly the most out there when it comes to food. You know. So I didn't really think of anything too crazy. One thing I used to eat as a kid, and I probably would eat again now, but like it's just fish and ketchup for some reason.
Oh.
I called out another dude for that would listen to our podcast. He texted me. He was like, "Look, I love ketchup on everything," and I was like, "Wow, you're weird." But then I realized that I'm weird because I used to eat ketchup on everything too, and a little bit of that is still stuck around. So fish and ketchup, which not a lot of people do, I don't think.
Is that like breaded fish or just like
Any fish really,
Okay.
yeah. But especially the breaded stuff. The breaded stuff is easier.
At least tell me it's not on like salmon.
I have done it on salmon before.
Wow.
Haven't recently, but I have.
All right.
But I'm also not a big salmon eater. So anyway, the other thing, combo I think more people should like, but I don't think it's weird because a lot of people do it. Grapes and cheese, underrated combo. You guys have ever had that?
It seems like I've seen something like
Yeah,
that.
the
but
blandness of the cheese with like the juiciness of the grapes. For some reason, just hits to me. So Give it a go.
I'm not really that fond of grapes, so that kind of eliminates that.
That's okay.
Grapes are
I appreciate your honesty.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's a texture thing for me. I can't get past that.
Okay, the texture. Okay, interesting.
I just can't get past
It's like the texture of a soaked muffin is great.
Yeah.
Not the grapes.
Yeah, what's going on there? Okay.
What can I tell you?
Yeah. Corey, what do you got going on there, Corey?
So I think there's some people out there that hate mayo.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of one of those people, but
Okay.
if you put it on a burger for me, I won't take it off.
Yeah. I don't hate mayo. And so I'll for many years one day I discovered mayo and chicken. So
Okay.
having like a little heap of mayo and like you dump your chicken tendies or
No, I don't
strips
approve
or
of
whatever
that.
in there. Oh,
I don't
that
approve
is
of that.
so tasty.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that I can get on board with
Yeah,
that.
we're both out. I'm sorry.
It's fantastic.
I like, yeah. I know,
Anyways.
you were, yeah.
The thing that I can't get past is that you would go like past the sweet and sour sauce and the cherry sauce and all that to get to the mayo.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no.
I mean, I don't
No.
do sweet and sour either. I do ketchup, but like,
I mean, so basically just sweet, right?
yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough.
No, you do. Wait, you do ketchup on chicken tendies?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a last resort.
Yeah.
That is
Wait,
a
really?
last
Oh, bro.
resort.
It's like
Yeah.
my first resort ever always as a kid. It was something that was safe. So
Oh my god.
that I like the fish thing I don't do always, or yeah. Chicken always ketchup.
Okay.
So
Wow.
Okay, that's a pretty hot take there too.
okay, fascinating. I didn't think it was as hot, but that's good to know.
Oh,
Yeah.
ketchup on everything is bad. Oh, wait.
My bad. Listen, I got a double standard going on. All right.
All right, so let me take this mail thing a bit further. I want to see what you
Okay.
guys think on this. So the other
gonna hate
day, I've been struggling packing my lunches since I've had a child.
Yeah.
You get up and
Is
you
it 'cause
kind
the
of
child takes all the food on you, or what?
No, I just all of my sleep. I think
Yeah,
mostly.
right,
I'm putting the stuff. Anyways, the salad dressing didn't make it in my lunch
Yeah.
like the other week, and so I have a dry salad, or basically lettuce.
It's healthier that way, anyway.
Yes, but it's not as good.
No, but sometimes you got to make sacrifices in this life.
So I go out to the work fridge because Buddy said, "Oh, I brought in some Caesar. It should be in there for the last like a couple weeks ago." So I go, "There's no Caesar, but there's like burger condiments there." Including mayo, and I'm like, "This is a white sauce. Like, let's put a little bit of that on." So I squirted it in and just about the same amount, just like say a ranch or a Caesar salad, and it wasn't bad, but it wouldn't be my choice in a fridge.
I'm
So my
disappointed.
question to you guys is, so because the question is don't mind, so I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you eat a salad without anything on it or with a little bit of mayo on it?
I'm going dry all day.
Okay.
I was at a steakhouse many moons ago, and for some reason their salad had, I think, mayo or Miracle Whip, one of the two, mixed in with the Caesar. Sometimes they do that, and it was
That's-
just terrible. I
yeah.
hated it. So I mean, I'm also just not a mayo fan, so I'm going to stay away from it.
See, I'd probably like in that situation,
Yeah.
I'd probably do a little mayo versus
Yeah.
a dry salad. Like that is awfully close to rabbit.
Yeah.
Like just eating a dry lettuce leaf.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah, I'd probably
Okay.
like a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Hey,
just enough to make it slide.
Yeah.
to each their own,
exactly.
I suppose. Yeah.
Very good. Well, now that we're done that, we're going to get into the auction world. I think a good way to start that off is get Randy to auction us something, me and Tyler.
Just so we can prove he's a real
Yeah.
auctioneer. We don't know otherwise.
So we've got this cow here. We're going to pretend it's a real live cow. Now, Randy said he's not a livestock auctioneer generally. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he'll do his best. And me and Tyler, we're going to try to guess. We're both not too much in the farming world these days.
No.
And so we're going to try to get the closest to the value of a cow.
I sure assume Corey's going to get closer. I sure assume. But you know what? It is what it is.
All right. Go ahead. Here's the cow. Put it in the ring.
All right, we're bringing
We'll
it
see
in
what
the
the
ring.
starting price is because I think that's going to
That's going to determine you. Yeah. So we're just to set the stage. We're gonna say it's a pregnant cow. All right,
Okay,
it's a beef cow.
Okay.
It looks to me like we're gonna call it a Simmental.
All right.
If it's pregnant, does it add value, we would say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're essentially
You're getting 2 cows for 1.
provided that,
Two for one deal,
childbirth goes well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm the cow owner, it's not going to go well. But if Corey is, it might. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. So, we got Simmental cow here. All right, what are you going to get out of 5,000? Going to be fine, going to be fine, going to be fine, get out of my 5. 3 grand. Hit 3,000, 32 and a half. 3 grand, going to be 32 and a half, 3,500. Hit 35, going to be 35, 35, 7 and a half, 35, 750. Hit 37, I'm going to be on out of 4,000, going to be 4 grand, 40, 250, got out of 4 grand, 250. Hit 4,000, 250, 4 grand, 2, but I'm going to be 4,500.
I'm out.
Hit 45.
That's all I got.
Hit 45, how about 4,300 then?
43,
Hit 43, 44, 44, going to be 4, figure out about 44, going to be 4, figure out about 44. Hit 4,300 here, 44, going to be 44, how about 44 and a 5. Hit 45, I'm going to be 45, going to be 45. You said that before. Hit 45, going to be 45, going to be 45. Hit 4,500, are we hold on a 245?
Come on, Don.
Cash books are, hey, cash
So
books are
4,500 over here. Put them on 275. Put them on 275.
That's
I
fantastic.
just got a cow.
Yeah, let's go.
Now, I'm not sure. Did I overpay, do you think?
I actually think you probably had a bargain there.
Okay, a bit of a bargain.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Because at first I was thinking, like 3 grand, but then suddenly I'm like, cow prices have went up, and no, it's pregnant, so I'm like, I don't know how much that adds.
Yeah, they're quite valuable right now.
Okay.
Like, I don't even know exactly. I just know that I'm pretty sure. And someone in the audience is probably going to be say I'm way off, but
Someone's
5
gonna
or
be
6,000 maybe is
Okay.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But
All right.
okay.
Yeah.
So you gotta steal there, Corey.
Yeah.
Take good care of that
Okay.
thing.
Here you go.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I now know that he is good at his job, so we can move forward with this podcast now.
All right. One of the first questions I have for you is what inspired you to become an auctioneer, and how did you kind of get started in that?
Yeah, so I would say that auctioneering found me. I didn't really pursue it. It kind of happened by accident. It wasn't something that I ever really planned on doing. Like, it's not like I was a kid and I'm going to be an auctioneer when I grow up. I do remember enjoying going to auction sales, enjoying listening to auctioneers. I had like a couple, like I liked that auctioneer. I'm not so fond of this one, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it wasn't something that I really was going to pursue. It was actually a church fundraiser. I was trying to remember the year, but I was like maybe 20 or something. And I honestly don't know what came into these people, but the committee that was doing it at the time, someone thought that, Randy could be the auctioneer. And so they came and asked me, like, are you kidding? Not a chance. I laughed to their face, told them to get out of here. And like, it was completely out of the blue for me at that point. And, but I had a job where it was very slow. It's just a winter job, very slow. It's just me and one other guy working there. And he would often go home at like 3 because he had a farm he was running or whatever. So it's me all alone. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to, do some YouTube videos and stuff, how to and everything. And so I just started practicing. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I think I might be able to do this. So I committed. I'm like, I'm going to do it. And I kind of think I know what it feels like when an animal gets caught in a trap. That's what that was like. So, now I've done it. Now I'm committed.
Yeah.
And
now you're selling everything on the farm during your workday.
Everything. The shower. You ask my family. The shower has heard all kinds of things. And then I practiced like every waking moment for, I think it was like 3 weeks, from the time of like never having thought of it to getting up in front of my first audience.
So you just went hammer down then, crammed the test type of deal. That's
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got started.
Yep.
It wasn't anything really planned out. It just kind of happened.
So how'd that first auction go then? Think it went well?
Yeah,
all
like
things
it
considered?
went well, all things considered. I was terrified.
Yeah, naturally, understandably so.
I was like, if you would have even given me a way out of it, probably just the hour of, I would have definitely
Yeah.
considered that. But
Yeah.
no, it went quite well actually. I made a couple mistakes, whatever, but
Naturally. Yep.
it went quite well.
So it was my follow up question. Kind of is like, do you have any like memories or any like memorable moments in that first auction, or just kind of like
No,
came and went? The first auction was kind of more the memorable moment.
yeah, kind of the event itself. Like I
Yeah.
obviously will remember that. I remember where it was. I remember what the stage looked
Yeah.
like and all that stuff. It was a pretty big deal, and I was pretty stressed out about it. But
Yeah.
no, like as far as an actual some specific thing that happened, not really. It was a dessert auction,
Yeah.
so it was everyone was in a good mood and
Yep.
forgiving mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a fundraiser too. You can't be too angry at that now.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's the place to
Yeah.
start. If there's anyone out here thinking about it, that's the place to start.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
So what does now today? What does a regular auction day look like?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on on what I'm doing. So I guess I never told the audience, but my regular what I do on a consistent basis is Wednesday mornings I go to Brampton to this company, Open Lane, and I sell cars or vehicles. So that's my regular sales. So on a day like that, typically I can get up around 6 o'clock, whatever, and whatever, shower, everything, and then try to hit the road by 6:30ish. And go down the lovely 401, 407, all the way to
Nice,
Brampton.
nice,
That's the whole
nice.
thing of its own. And then I stop for breakfast. And I have a very specific reason why I do that, and I wonder if you guys know why that is.
Is that why you stop for breakfast?
Yes. Aside from the nourishment.
Right. To go bathroom?
No. Actually, the bathroom at this particular location, you would drive another 10 miles not to
Okay.
use this one.
All right, good to know. Good to know. All right. I was trying to think outside the box. My bad.
So
You got any
my
guesses?
first instinct was like, maybe you're not going to be able to eat for a while, so you want food. But you said besides nourishment.
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking outside food.
Do you have to like warm up your voice or something?
Well, yes, but that's not why. And
Okay.
like, definitely, I don't get like my lunch is probably at 2 o'clock then.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's a very practical reason. It's the 401 factor,
Okay.
right? Like I have to be there at 9 o'clock,
Right.
and you can't predict the 401.
Right.
So I leave at 6:30, and then some mornings I have a long, relaxed breakfast, and some mornings I have a very rushed breakfast.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
it's my cushion that is
Yeah,
working.
no, that's
there.
smart. That's
Yes.
smart.
Yeah.
I did that as well, and I would go down to Conestoga College in the evenings. As there was some like suppers I had lots of time, and others it was like drive through and go.
Yep. And it works. In 3 years, I've never been late for a single
Yep.
auction at
Nice.
that place. So it definitely works.
Very good.
But anyway, so then I get there. Yeah, meeting is at 9 o'clock. So we have a boardroom that we get in, and it's just a bunch of how many cars are there, like for that particular sale. How did last week's sale go? If there's any problem cars that they have like a list where there's maybe a dozen cars on that are kind of, problem cars, like the engine and the transmission don't work, that type of thing. So we just kind of, go over the sale, and then the auction starts at 9:30. We each do our own opening announcements, and usually go until about 12 to 1 is kind of around there. I'm usually done. And then that's it. I go home.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my regular auction.
So I think a question that I kind of jumps into that is, how has technology kind of changed the auction industry? Because I think, from what I understand, like I could bid at home at this auction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, technology has very, very much changed the auction world. The fact that with a little bit more equipment, we could have an auction from right here.
Yeah.
We could sell all kinds of things from right here. We wouldn't need anyone else except for 2 or 3 people in this room. And the other thing is that in all reality, you wouldn't need me. And that's the part that it's actually kind of a little bit sad. I do feel like I'm a bit of a dying thing. There's not many auctioneers my age. Like,
Right. Yep.
there's some, but a lot of the auctioneers that I work with are for 50 and up. Because it's just, there's more and more internet sales, a timed online auction, and there's not as much need for my skill set. So I really hope I can do this for a lot of years yet, but I don't know how many years that I'm still going to be needed.
Right. I think often in those I was going to call it a trade, but I don't know if it is
they would call it a
not.
trade. Yeah.
Is like in like a trade that's kind of dying. Often you still have like, as long there's not as large of a market, but there's still always those scenarios where you want that old skill yet, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, and like in the automobile auction world, it is still hanging on longer. Like, have you guys been to like a teacup and saucer kind of sale? Like, met Grandma and Grandpa passed away, and we're gonna clean out their house and have an auction. Like that is very much a dying thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those have pretty much all went online and timed online, like no auctioneer involved, and I doubt you're going to see them come back much at all, because they're getting a lot more money than they are with the live sale, and yeah, it's just working. But the the automobile auction, they've kind of tried to get rid of us, and it hasn't really worked. So I think because it's very much a relationship thing, like I have maybe half a dozen buyers in the audience that I got a strong relationship with. I know, this morning I sold a few cars to a guy he didn't even know he was bidding because I just knew he wanted this car, right? Like,
Interesting.
And so then like he'll go home and, I got these cars, great. Like I just know that he wants these cars.
Yeah.
Where a computer's not going to do that for you.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. One of the things that since I'm a bit of a interested in cars, is there's an auction called the Barrett-Jackson auction. It's like something like that. Like they're always going to have a real live auctioneer on that, not?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, because it's like an event, and that's kind of what makes it.
Yeah. And that might be the niche that we find ourselves in, because there's still like, it's a pretty boring event getting together for a timed online auction, right? Like we're gonna serve coffee.
That's my favorite get together.
Yeah. And usually like that's still the thing that we can bring is the environment, right? Like you can engage with the buyers, you can have some fun, you can get them laughing a bit, which at a fundraiser there's much more possible because people are in that kind of mood. Where at the car auction it's all business. Like,
right.
They're trying to get the car for the lowest dollar they can, and I'm trying to get as much out of them as they can. It's that simple. But yeah.
Interesting. So, is there any misconceptions about auctioneers that you think are out there?
Yes, there is, and the one that came to my mind the most was that most people assume, like, I've been asked many, many times, are you a licensed auctioneer? And most times I just say yes, because I know what they're meaning with the question, but no, I'm not a licensed auctioneer. I couldn't even be a licensed auctioneer. There is no such thing. In the States, yes.
Okay.
But up here, no. It's a bit of the Wild West.
Interesting.
There's certain townships where, you call me up, hey, we want to have a sale here and sell my whatever, that I would have to go to the township office or whatever and like purchase a license.
Okay.
But that's it. Like I don't have a license, and like during COVID, I had a guy, because I was pretty much not doing any auctioning for a couple of years, like, well, keep up your license, you don't lose. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that.
So you just pretend like licenses exist to make it easier. Or
Well,
what?
it's so much easier because
Yeah.
I guess what they're often asking, or what they mean behind the question, is basically, are you a legit auctioneer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do this for a job, right?
Yeah.
So rather than to explain it a million times, I just,
Yeah.
How many auctions, or like, so you say you do on Wednesdays, you do your routine. Like, is that the one day per week you do it, or do you do more of that?
That's the one day of the week that I do for sure.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, it's just sporadic.
Yeah.
I have a couple other companies that I help out whenever they need someone.
Nice. Okay.
So an auctioneer doesn't need a license in Canada. What are some of the tools that you do need? So I was like a carpenter, you've got the hammers and the saws. What's an auctioneer need?
Yeah. Not much, really. You need your voice to be in good shape. Microphone is very helpful, but not required. You could have an auction with just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically good sound equipment. And okay, so like if you own your own business, your own auction company, and you're coming here and we want to conduct a sale, like computers, printers, like your office stuff, and sound equipment is about.
Yep.
I have 2 mics like this, and one that I can carry on my side.
Nice.
That's about all I have.
Very good.
Nice. So my question, you mentioned your voice there. One of mine was, do you have any like voice routines or any way you keep up the vocal cords in tip-top shape?
I don't have like any set routine or whatever. I probably should more,
Yeah.
but warming up for sure. Getting out of bed at 30 minutes, like if the auction was next door and you'd sleep until 30 minutes before and you'd get up and shower, not talk to anyone, go and just boom, start selling, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, not ideal.
Some people would say you shouldn't have too much coffee before or during because it can dehydrate you or whatever. I usually have a bit in the morning, but need something to get me going. No, like sometimes if I'm driving there and I feel like I don't like how my voice feels, I'll just auction into the whatever, whatever.
Yep.
Sell hydro poles or something.
So you kind of talked a bit about what auctions you're most experienced with, I think, but if not, feel free to elaborate on that. Part more of that question is what auctions do you kind of prefer working with?
So I do enjoy the car auction.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that, but as much or maybe even a bit more is like farm machinery sales. I should be like the farm audience.
Yeah.
The farmer audience, probably of most audiences, just they know how to do a good auction, like be good buyers or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, I like selling for a farm audience. And then farm machinery, probably because I know like that's the sales that my dad would have taken me to as a kid.
Yep.
Livestock sales, we almost never went to those.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Very good. So can a good auctioneer bring in more money to a sale than a bad one? And if so, how?
Yeah, I think so. Where I work at the car auction, yes, there's still a difference between like the best and the worst or whatever. But I think it's not as far apart because when I started there, the guy that was training me, I just remember him saying, he's like, they are professional buyers, that they probably know more about auctions than you do, and you're the auctioneer. So they already know what that thing is worth. They know what they're going to pay. It's all business. So, depend who's up there, maybe doesn't matter as much as long as you maybe don't tick them off. Like if they don't like you as an auctioneer, then they might just walk away to a different lane. But where I think it's a bigger difference is maybe your fundraisers or things your estate sales where you have people that aren't professional buyers. I think there it makes a bigger difference.
Yep.
Like there's actually been a number of times where I've done a charity event where they maybe didn't have a legit auctioneer before, and afterwards like, wow, we made way more money than we normally do. I just did one this week where they're like, wow, we've pulled in way more than we usually do. So I think there are definitely places where a good auctioneer makes a big difference.
Interesting. And like, what is your theory in behind like why?
Yeah, so one of them is the longer you do it, you kind of, and like I don't want people to get the wrong impression that we're trying to manipulate you to spending more, but like, but you kind of learn how to read the audience. It's incredible when you're up there and it's like, I have these two people going over here and I'm pretty sure that guy's going to start bidding. Like you just by the body language, you can tell that he's or she is like interested in this thing. They're probably going to start bidding. So then you kind of try to make sure you work them, or just you learn how to see things that maybe the first time I was up there I wouldn't have seen. That's probably one of the big things, and just learning how to read an audience probably.
Yeah. So, and maybe this kind of answered that question already, but or maybe it leads into it. I don't know. I put a couple questions out on the Instagram, and one of them was, what sort of tricks does a auctioneer, do to get more bids?
Well, yeah. What kind of tricks? That one's a little harder to answer.
Secret, we can't be giving away trade secrets over here.
No, like there's. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still like the person in the audience knows or is supposed to know what they're gonna pay, right? But one of the things sometimes, and I mean that was kind of the whole point of the like the first guy figured out how to do the auction thing, was urgency. Because if you want that thing but you're not sure, but man, if I don't keep bidding then it's gonna be gone, right? Then where if you give them all kinds of time, they have all kinds of time to think about it. So that's like one of the things. If I have two people and this guy is just like, I'm sure he has some more money in his pocket for this item, but it's just not coming. Like he's acting very cagey. I'll just like start doing my final wrap up, like I'm about to sell it, and all of a sudden, boom, he bids. Like, aha, you're not done, right? Like different things like that, maybe.
Yeah. And I noticed when we were selling this cow here, you encouraged Tyler, like, you tossed in a little, I don't remember what it was, like.
I think I said you said that before.
Yeah.
I use that one a bunch.
There's some different fillers like that that kind of encourage people.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually the one trick maybe I failed to mention was, and well, you would have noticed it there, I was going by 250 increments, I think, and then I step down to 100s, like at the end, just break it down to smaller chunks, and then well, he bid again, right? And then you bid one more time, and he said no again at 4,500. So
which I should have said yes, apparently.
But if I wouldn't have went down to 4,300, I think it was, you would have got it for 4,250, but instead you paid 4,400. So that's definitely a big one that we use all the time.
Very good.
I'd say the biggest trick that works on me when I've been at auctions, which has been like twice that I've actually tried to bid on something. So not much, but the one thing that did work is just the peer pressure everyone around me. It's not like the auctioneer so much. It's like everyone's staring and watching, like, okay, fine. If I don't bid, they'll be sad. It's my thought process for some reason. It's I don't know. It's mental, but like,
Another question I had from the Instagram is, do you have a story where someone was accidentally bidding?
Yeah, it probably happens at fundraisers the most. Like, I don't have one specific story because it actually happens way more than you'd think.
Okay.
Where like, oh hey, how are you? Come, I'm sitting over here, and like they have their arm up, oh, there's a bid, and then all of a sudden, oh no, they actually weren't bidding, or and then you just hope that the other person bids again. So that like again, I like large social gatherings. It happens quite a bit. Or at the auto auction, we're actually like the other auctioneer is like if you would move over one more spot, that's about how close he is to me, and like
really?
over here as well. So if someone's out there, you can think he's bidding to you, but he's bidding over there or whatever. So that can happen. It does happen, and honestly, if it does happen, you just whatever back up to. Most times, whoever was the second last bidder is good about it, and they'll just wherever they were on last, they're fine with staying there, but not always.
Yeah. So, if someone's like concerned about bidding accidentally, is there something that you'd want to tell them how they should behave, or what they shouldn't do or should do, or
Keep your hands down.
Yeah.
Inside the vehicle at all times.
Well, just like whatever. Watch your hands. I mean, it. After you've done it once or twice, I'll know that no, they're not bidding. But I guess the one thing would be eye contact.
Right.
Like if you want to bid, then make eye contact with me, and then you can do your thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not and it's not scary. A lot of people are like, will not bid an auction because it's this big scary thing. It's like, no, it's not.
fair enough. Got a question is, what is an item you have auctioned that you thought wouldn't bring much but ended up selling for a lot?
Yeah. Well, it happens a lot. Like, because, hey, there's 500 lots here, and a lot of these things, I don't even know what that is, and I have to try to imagine what it's worth. So it definitely happens a bunch. There's one thing that came to my mind. It was this summer. This gigantic, I don't know, like 6 feet tall, 8 feet tall, white horse. It's like an ornament.
Yeah.
It looked like, meh. Who wants that?
I literally was just driving by someone's place the other week that had one of those.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
I
it was-
looked at
maybe they
it,
bought
and
it.
I was like, that is so like 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways,
It
continue.
was just this big white horse. I don't even remember what it was made out of. Like, I don't think it was stone, like maybe plastic or something. But, and I honestly don't know exactly what it went for, but like a couple grand or $5,000 or something. Like, I would have expected $100 or $200 is all.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind.
Hey, the people wanted the horse.
Who wants this? But anyway, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So, would you say that's like your most unusual thing you've sold, or is there something else that you've sold that's a little more weird or unusual?
Yeah, I get that question quite a bit, actually. I never really know how to answer it. One thing about auctioneers in general, like if you ask me what vehicles I sold today and what they brought, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fast-paced. Like, you know, okay, I kind of remember what happened with that cow because it was the only thing we sold. But if we would have sold 15 things in a row, I probably couldn't tell you much about any of them because it's in your head, you sell it, you say sold, boom, it's out because now I'm on the next thing.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it to stay in your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no reason
Yeah.
for it to stay. So, yeah, like unusual things that I haven't sold any like celebrities' cars or anything like
go.
that. Like I haven't
Yeah.
really done anything
Yeah.
like that. So
Yep. Fair enough.
there's been some things that in the moment I'm like, oh, that's interesting, but by 5 o'clock I've forgotten it
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another Instagram question that came is what's the most expensive thing you've sold? So
Yeah, I believe
remember
it's
that?
a car, and I don't.
okay.
It was. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
Because at the time it didn't seem that significant, but it was a few $100,000, whatever it was.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. I kind of wish I'd remember what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like you have no idea like if it was something newer or like classic or
No, because it was. So when I got back, so I was at the auto auction for a year before COVID.
Yep.
Then COVID hit and everything, whatever. And then I was off for two and a half years where I was laid off. Then when I came back, like we don't run the cars through the buildings anymore.
Right.
So we're just selling it by pictures.
Okay.
I have 2 computer screens and the picture of the car is like that big in the corner. So it's way harder for, like when we used to run it through,
Yeah.
like I remember hey, a G-Wagon came through. That's
Yeah.
cool. Then you remember that. But
Yeah.
now it's just this little picture and you probably
Right.
don't even really, you just read
Yeah.
the description. So it
Yeah.
doesn't stick
Yeah,
as
it
much.
feels a lot less real, probably,
Yeah.
too. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it actually is.
And I guess also it wasn't my lane. When I came back, I was what they call a floater because
Okay.
every once in a while you want to break. You don't want to sell for 4
Right.
hours straight. So I was just giving someone a break. It wasn't even my lane or anything.
Right.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Very good.
So one quick question here is so you're not always what quality of cars are you selling? Any quality, like, or is it like Toyota Corollas, or is it all G-Wagon type stuff?
So I'm not selling a lot of G-Wagons.
Yeah.
There'd be another lane where there'd be more like the higher end stuff. I do
Yeah.
get some, like, today I had a couple of Jeep Wagoneers or whatever. So if I get something that's over 100,000, that's kind of like, oh, it stands out.
Yeah,
100 to
okay.
120 is probably the highest. But yeah, I'll sell anything from a $500 junker to a $90,000 pickup truck or whatever. It's kind of,
Yep.
it's different consigners. So I have this guy comes in and he's got 10 cars and he has kind of this quality of vehicles. And the next guy comes in and, oh, he's got good quality. This is, and the buyers kind of know that. So,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Interesting. So, last question from the Instagram crowd is an auction always commission based?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the answer is no. Well, okay, someone somewhere is pretty much always getting commission.
Okay.
But it's not always the auctioneer.
Right.
So at the car auction, again, I'm getting paid a flat rate. Doesn't matter if I'm there for 3 hours or 4 or 5. It's the same. Some auctions I get paid hourly, and then some I get paid commission. But at the auto auction, the auction house is charging commission to, well, it might be run fees, but it's kind of like commission. So someone is probably charging commission somewhere, but the auctioneer himself is not always being paid commission. If you're what they call a contract auctioneer, you're probably getting paid flat rate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there any ethical or unique ethical sort of considerations to make when you're auctioneering?
Yes, there's, and can be a bit of a debate on certain people. So I'm going to pose a question to you guys. Like, if we're selling an item and the seller has put a reserve on it for, say, $20,000, and I open the bidding and there's not much going on, and we're at $15,000 and there's just one person that's bidding. Is it unethical for me to be the second bidder in that scenario? What do you guys think?
No. Because if I see it and I know that, say I might pay $24,000 for it. If no one is there to take me to the 20, I can't buy that vehicle.
Yeah, I'd be okay with it, I think. I don't have any more thoughts to really add to that, but like, yeah, I'd probably be okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. So that is commonly what happens in the auto auction world for that specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and this is where it comes down to the auctioneer, but like, I won't go over that reserve.
Right.
Usually I don't even go to the reserve because it's just like when you have your car at the end of the road and it's for sale for 5,000, you might sell it for 4, right? So I'll take the person kind of close to where I think we can make a deal, and then that's as far as I'll take him.
Yeah.
In an unreserved auction, no. Then I think it's unethical, and most people would agree. But yeah, so that's kind of the big one. That's like the big debate amongst the auction world.
If you were throwing your own bids in a non-reserved situation, and you kind of got the last bid, what happens? you just make it disappear? Is that kind of where the unethical thing?
That's where you can get into some pretty hot water, and that if you want to upset an audience, just do that. Like you will have an upset audience pretty quick. And no, I don't do that. And honestly, like most auctioneers that I know wouldn't do that. There's always a couple bad actors in every profession, right? But so yeah, I've never been in that situation, so I don't know how you'd get out of it. But
because like that would probably be my biggest concern. Is like, especially when like you hear about people bidding up, your buddy at here or there, whatever. Well, you got to be. Yeah. You kind of got to be ready to take it then.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a whole different, like, whatever. If you're going to pay, if you end up hung with it and you didn't want it, but you pay for it, whatever, that's your problem, right? Like, you made that choice and now you're paying for it. But as the auctioneer, it's a little bit different. But, so yeah, that's like the big one. And then, I mean, it's business. So whatever business ethics in any other business, really, like, be fair, be honest, all those things, right?
Yep. So, as we're kind of winding down here, is there anything that you think non-auctioneers should know or might find interesting in the auction world that we haven't really talked about yet?
I I thought about that question for a bit. I hadn't really come up with. Well, I think the licensing thing, the fact that we're not licensed was a big one. I don't think that there's really a lot that I can add that we haven't discussed already. Yep.
And then if someone's thinking, hey, you know what, I think it'd be fun to do what Randy does and do a little auctioneering, what advice would you have for them?
So, like, the first thing that I would say right off the top is you're going to need a lot of patience, because being an auctioneer is unlike, I compare it actually a lot more to being a sports player, in the fact that, not that we're athletes or anything, we're not getting paid nearly what they're getting paid, but like you don't just one day decide I'm going to be an auctioneer and then you do X, Y, Z and then you make a resume and you hand it in and you get hired. That's not really how it works. It works more like a sports player, where you have to get noticed. You have to get your name out there. You have to basically audition. And how do you audition? You do every charity auction you possibly can. Excuse me. That's kind of how you get in.
Yeah. Interesting.
And patience, so the part of the story that I didn't tell you, from when I did that first auction, at that dessert auction, I think it was a year later at least. Yeah, I think it was the next year, the same auction was my second auction. So there was 12 months between my first and my second auction. And it was probably like the first 5 years, I only did a few. And then I suddenly kind of got that break, right? Like I was at a charity auction and someone happened to be there that was looking for an auctioneer, and I had my first gig. And then competitions is the other way. That's kind of how I got into the auto auction world. I competed in the Ontario auctioneer competition. I did it.
There's an auctioneer competition? This is news to me. This is fantastic.
There is, as a matter of fact, there is, yes. So I competed in the novice class, and I was fortunate enough to win.
Oh, nice.
And then
bringing home the gold.
That's right. And I have a plaque.
Yeah, awesome.
And then the next year, I'm like, well, gonna compete in the experienced division, and I was fortunate enough to win again.
There you go. No, it's good.
So so I did that, and then like within a couple of weeks, I got a phone call from the auto auction wondering if I'd want to come in.
Yeah,
because. And again, kind of whatever, being noticed, there was a few scouts there. Like, there's a few people that worked there that saw me, and they thought they'd...
This guy's pretty good. We'll give him a shot.
Like that.
It's awesome.
Top dog. I mean, why wouldn't you want to hire the
Wins
guy?
2 years in a row, just moving up in the world. It's good.
Yeah. So those are, like, charity auctions for sure. Practice. If you want to start in... The shower is, if you need a confidence boost, the shower is a great place. The acoustics in there are amazing.
Yeah.
It's a confined space. It echoes. It makes you feel like you're a really good auctioneer.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so yeah, that kind of thing. Tons of practice, tons of patience, and even like don't just plan on that's going to be your profession. Have something else
Right.
that you want to do on the side. Pretty much 80% of the auctioneers I work with are not just auctioneers.
Right.
They are in other trades or they have their own auction company. For the reasons I discussed earlier, like the job security of an auctioneer isn't really getting better.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Very good. Do you got any more questions for him before we close out here, Tyler? Or?
No, I think
All
think
good?
we got, I think we're all
Okay.
good.
Well, do you got a quote for us?
Yeah. I have like a couple or whatever, and they're not
Right.
original to me.
That's all right.
Everyone's bringing on multiple quotes these
Yeah.
days. I
Oh,
like
that's
it.
good.
That's good.
So one of them, and this is, you're all going to recognize it as Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
And that is basically how come I'm an auctioneer now, is because I just did it.
Yeah.
They asked me and I said, yes. And don't think about it, just do it. Right. And the other one is that I don't remember it exactly, but something about a lot of people miss a lot of opportunities because they're dressed in overalls and they look like work. That's another one
Nice.
I like.
Interesting. Yeah. That's good.
I like it.
that.
I like it.
It makes me want to ask you a lot of more questions. But we don't do that with
No.
quotes. We just
Yeah.
let them marinate.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Randy.
Yeah.
been
Thanks
great.
for having me.
It's
I'm
fantastic.
sure the people enjoy to hear all these, auction insights.
Yeah. Hopefully someone learned something.
Yes.
Thank you all Instagram viewers for sending in questions as well.
Yes.
You know? It's a cool thing Corey's been doing. I might
Once
do
in
it
a
for the
while.
next episode if I can find a way to mix that in there. It's a good idea.
Very good. Well, do you want to close this out, Tyler?
Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you want, subscribe if you want, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks from now.
All right.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.